So as you know, the Minnesota Vikings lost a match against the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday. And while the victory itself might be a reason to appear on the headlines, the reason why we're addressing this game has something to do with the relationship held between the fans and the players. Over the years, tensions have grown. Ticket holders are a bit more free with their comments, and players are not as patient and are more willing to have you removed from the premises or address you on social media directly. So here's a question that I want to pose that I want everyone to think about. Can a fan go too far? If we're just talking in the area of just strictly comments, can a fan ever say something to a player that is considered too far? We're not calling for threats. I'm not talking about a call to violence. I'm not talking about harm to the player, to the loved one, nothing along those lines. I'm talking strictly insults. Is it possible that a fan of a sports team could say something that is so egregious, whether it be after a loss, a missed shot, failing to save a goal, or how about taunting?
We got a fan that's got a little unruly.
So that's the question, and I want you to think about this while we address the story. So let's go. Minnesota Vikings player Alexander Mattison is making the statement that he received some racist messages after the team lost to Philadelphia on Thursday night. He went on Instagram the following day to display some screenshots that he had taken of the messages, which was somewhere in the realm of about 50 to 60 different posts displaying what he calls disgusting, disrespectful messages. So he then commented with the following, saying, "Y'all can come at me all you want about fantasy and you suck, blah blah blah." And he was doing this on Instagram. So he continues and says, "I really could care less, but this bleep is unacceptable. Really reflect on what it is you say and how it could affect someone under the helmet. I am human, a father, a son. This is sick." Those are his comments. And then afterwards, he went about deleting the post. So as is common for any business, this is bad PR. So the NFL had to step in and issue a comment. And their comment sounded like what you'd expect, which said, "The NFL strongly condemns racist comments directed towards Alexander Mattison online after last night's game. Such hateful behavior is completely unacceptable in the NFL or anywhere else. We stand firmly with Alexander and remind fans to remember the humanity of all players and celebrate their contributions to the game we all love." So remember, that was the league. The team also issued a statement that said, "We are sickened by the hatred and racial slurs directed towards Alexander Mattison following last night's game." They followed that up with another statement that basically said the same thing, just a little bit longer. Even Alexander's agent stepped in on Twitter to issue a statement as well. So Alexander thanked everyone. They have another game coming up on the 24th. And with all that said, now here we are. So let's go back to the question that I asked a little earlier. Can fans ever go too far? If we're just talking insults, banter, a little bit of back and forth, that type of fan reaction I would encourage, because that's just mere passion. That is a fan being passionate about the sport, that when the opposing team comes in, they have something to say because they consider themselves to be a part of the team or an extension of the team that they support. So can fans go too far? The answer is yes. Yes, they can. Fans approach the area of going too far when they enter into the areas that I had mentioned earlier, when there's a call for violence or when passion sometimes becomes confused for hate, which can lead to violence. I read some of the comments, and there was no way that they were going to let this slide, especially in the day and age that we're in right now. This is not a new thing though. Teams and players have been cracking down on this type of attitude more and more. And while someone may object and say, well, they bought the tickets, so they should have the right to say whatever it is that they please, you're absolutely right. They do have the right. No one's taking that away from you. But the sport and the owner of the stadium also has the right to remove you from the premises if they so choose fit. They could have easily responded back to Alexander Mattison, although it would have been a PR nightmare. They could have easily said, it's a sport, this is just a passionate fan, deal with it. But they chose to stand by their player and condemn this type of action, especially since it's online. I don't get the feeling that if this person were in front of Alexander, he would have actually said this, especially if he was within arm's reach. And in the comments that I had read, there were blatant racial slurs and a call to violence. So unless they've already done it, Instagram or Twitter are probably going to remove the guy that made these comments, and Alexander's going to go on with his life. So what do you guys think about the question I asked earlier? Do fans ever go too far? Because they're the customer. Is the customer always right in this case? And for those of you guys that have ever played a sport, have you ever been in this situation where you had to deal with someone like this? And how did you handle it? Leave your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to drop a like. and I'll see y'all again for the next one. Be easy, y'all.
You got a fan that's got a little